2020, what a year it has been. If you're like us, you're ready to celebrate the new year.
We're taking what 2020 dealt us and turning it into opportunity for 2021.
Ways to look at debt, taxes, and contributions as part of your resolutions for the new year. Celebrate with us right now on Retiring Today.
Welcome to Retiring Today. In this episode, we're taking a quick look back at 2020, but the exciting thing we're doing is looking ahead to 2021 and the opportunities that you have for your retirement vision. I'm here with Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp. Both of the guys sitting next to me are certified financial fiduciaries and certified financial planners. Sean is also a CPA and a retirement income certified professional. So Sean, let's talk to you first. Let's go back just for a little bit to 2020. Nobody wants to stay there too long, but let's talk about what you learned from 2020 and specifically, obviously, when helping people plan their retirement vision.
Yeah, one of the big things we learned was to expect the unexpected. Nobody could have talked or planned or thought or known about all of the stuff that we were going to experience or that you were going to go through in 2020. Coronavirus wasn't a phrase that we knew about. It was brand new. Market volatility, just lots of things. You know, as you think about planning, right? You just never know what's really going to happen. But now that we've got that behind us, what have we learned? What can we do going forward as we try to put 2020 behind us?
Lauren, what did you learn?
Well, one of the things that we were reminded of is life is always changing, right? Life is a journey, and there's bumps in the roads along the journey. There's a lot of things that can happen, and I think one of the things to keep in mind as you transition to retirement, or maybe you're already in retirement, is that's not going to change, because life is going to continue to happen. There's going to continue to be bumps in the road, and now it's a matter of how do you smooth out those bumps as much as you can in order to really enjoy the most of, or get the most of out of retirement as you possibly can. I mean, 2020 was a crazy year. How many people thought they were going to buy a dog in 2020? And then here we see the animal rescue leagues, right, and all these shelters are emptied with pets. I mean, there's a lot of things that took place this year that nobody could have predicted. But if you have the plans in place to overcome some of the uncertainty, that certainly alleviates a lot of the anxiety that uncertainty can bring.
And Lauren, I've heard you talk about it a lot. There are certain things we can control. We can't control necessarily viruses. We can't control elections and outcomes. But when it comes to retirement, there are some things you can control. And here at Merkle Retirement Planning, we've kind of boiled those down into 5 guiding principles.
Yeah, the 5 guiding principles make up your customized retirement plan. When you retire, you're still going to need income. So where's the income going to come from? And how certain are you that that income is not going to go away prior to your retirement ending? When you take income, you're going to have to still pay taxes. I mean, we've all paid taxes for a very long time. In retirement, that doesn't change, but you may have more control over the level of tax you pay if you implement some effective tax planning strategies. Then we have the long-term care, the healthcare planning, the estate planning, and then also the investment planning components of the overall retirement plan.
And Sean, one of the best parts of your job is we take these 5 principles, and sometimes they do feel like I don't have control over these things, but when you really drill down and work with people and talk to them about how these principles all work together, you deliver a written plan, and then do you find that people do feel like they have control?
Yeah, we do see that all the time. One of the biggest things, most common things that families come in and talk to us about is that they just say, hey, we're looking for confidence. We know we've got new decisions upon us as we progress and move through that retirement stage. As you guys get closer to retirement or journey into retirement, they want to know these are new things we're trying to talk about. What do I need to be thinking about? How do I know if the decisions you're making are the best and right decisions? We see the value isn't only in creating that written plan. There is a lot of value in simply going through that planning process. It triggers lots of conversations. It's such a joy. We see sometimes that we're sitting across the table, and I know Lauren and Abby, we talk about it all the time. We've got a husband and wife, and they're sitting there having conversation that they've never had before. Sometimes it's hard to when you're in the day-to-day life at home, right? You've got that new pet at home, maybe the grandchildren are around, life keeps you busy. it's hard to sit down and say, all right, today you're going to sit there and talk about your finances, and you're going to talk about that retirement vision and what that means to each of you, because we know it's not the same for both people.
Yeah, and most of the time when people sit down with us for the first time, they're not concerned about all 5 of those guiding principles. Maybe they feel really comfortable about the income that they have coming in retirement, at point of retirement, as well as 10, 15 years down the road. Maybe that's not a big concern of yours right now. Maybe it's more the tax piece. Maybe it's more you have this $500,000 IRA that you never pay taxes on, and you're concerned because if tax rates go up, then you're going to have to pay more in tax on that piece of the money than what you otherwise would. Maybe that's a concern. And maybe you're not as concerned about your legacy plan. Maybe you already have a trust in place. Maybe you already have a living will or a last will, healthcare, financial power of attorneys, maybe that's in place. But oftentimes when we do engage in these conversations, they might come in with a few of the concerns, but as we talk through some of these other things maybe they haven't talked about before amongst themselves or thought about, now they're thinking, well, I haven't addressed that part of it yet, or I haven't addressed this part of it yet, because you just don't know what you don't know. And through this conversation or the process, some of these things can be uncovered along the way to make sure that there aren't as many surprises down the road.
And that's where you can see so much value in working with a professional, and especially working with somebody who is focused on planning. We know we can't answer all those questions and try to think about simply everything, right? Again, we came into the 2020 and not knowing about some of these things. You simply won't know everything you're going to encounter and what your retirement journey is going to completely look like. So addressing maybe those top 1 or 2 items and then kind of working through that process, making sure that you are thinking about the different things that you want to be analyzing and making decisions on as part of your retirement plan.
And then when a 2020 happens and we can't go anywhere or travel or do anything, we're kind of confined to our house, and you decide, well, what else should I do but put in a pool? Then you have that plan in place to help show you the road to effectively put that pool in from a financial standpoint, so you don't have to worry about the financial repercussions of maybe a big purchase like that.
Like put it in yourself, like start digging, or?
No, not start digging. Like maybe, I've done enough of the home projects myself to know I'm not going to tackle digging a pool and putting a pool in myself.
Okay, so now let's say we get to look forward to 2021, which I know a lot of you are, as are we. So the resolution piece of 2021, the newness of the year, the excitement. We promised to talk about debt, taxes, and contributions, some things you can do, some things you can control. So let's talk about debt. Loren, first, when people come in, what are the conversations about a debt that you have as you're looking forward to 2021?
For pre-retirees, the conversation when we talk about debt often leads to, should I pay off my mortgage? We've always heard over all these years that I should go, or that you should go into retirement without a mortgage. And if you can do that, and if you can effectively pay off your mortgage in a very inexpensive way, then that may not be a bad way to go into it. I mean, the less debt you have, the more control you have over your discretionary income, and then the more control you have over your lifestyle. So the big question for pre-retirees is, should I pay off my mortgage? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. First of all, if you were to pay off your mortgage, let's say you have $60,000 left on your mortgage. If you were to pay that off, where would the money come from to pay that off? If you have to take a $60,000 distribution from your taxable IRA, well, now paying that mortgage off becomes a lot more expensive than the debt interest that you have on the mortgage, most likely, because then you're going to have to pay taxes on that $60,000 distribution, which could push you up into a higher income level, meaning you pay a higher level of tax. So there's a lot of factors that need to be evaluated to determine what's the best structure to manage the debt and or pay it off as you go into and then through retirement.
And one of those factors, Sean, is how long do you plan to stay in the house?
Yeah, again, that's part of that retirement plan. Sometimes having that conversation, you don't necessarily know, right, how long that you may want to stay exactly where you're at. I mean, are we, as part of your retirement vision, to, leave the weather and climate that you're in and find somewhere warmer and nicer? So if it's a married couple, they're going to have different opinions, different viewpoints, different visions. So again, having those conversations to figure out what that looks like for you guys. So yeah, is refinancing your mortgage, is that makes sense? Does that fit your plan? It's not all about if you simply lower your interest rate by 25 basis points or something. That isn't the automatic answer. There is analysis that needs to be done that needs to factor in just various factors that you want to be looking at. And Loren, in your example too, it's just a great reminder that there is trade-off with a lot of decisions. There are no automatic decisions out there that are clear cut. Hey, this is clearly the right answer. You don't need to be assessing it. We know that if you want to pay off your mortgage, then you're taking from some of your balance and savings, and there's trade-off. You're giving up something here to get something over here. That's part of the analysis, and helping having the conversations with individuals to make sure you understand the pros and cons to those decisions and exactly what that trade-off is important.
So Sean made the point about how it's not just about decreasing your interest rate, and I think this example really illustrates that.
Well, that's exactly it. And in today's interest rate environment, it is extremely tempting. When you might have a 4% mortgage, and maybe you can get a mortgage decrease, a rate decrease down under 3%. It's extremely tempting to say, yes, that makes a lot of sense from an overall debt interest payment over the longevity of your mortgage, but not in all cases does it make sense. And this is what the example demonstrates. So in this example, let's say you have a $300,000 house, you take out a $300,000 mortgage, 30-year mortgage, 4% interest rate, and over the course of that 30 years, you're going to pay a total interest of about $215,000. So that $300,000 house cost you, over the 30 years, about $515,000 between the actual principal and then the interest. The payment as you start that 30-year mortgage, the interest payment is $1,000 a month, and the principal payment is $432 a month. So the $1,432 a month payment, the vast majority of that is going to interest, and we know that that's how most of these mortgages work. 10 years into paying this 30-year note, you're paying $787 a month in interest and $644 a month in principal. So even 10 years into it, you're paying more interest every single month than what you are paying principal. So if you look at that on the surface, you're saying, wow, I'm paying all of this interest. I'm paying 4%. Interest rates have decreased, and now I owe less. Now instead of $300,000, I only owe $235,000. I can refinance that $235,000 for 3% instead of the 4%, and I'm going to save all this money over the course of the note, except for you took another 30-year note. And so the way that this works out is over that 30 years, you pay that note at 3% interest. That's $230,000 of total interest, which is $15,000 more of interest than what you would have paid if you just continued on the 4% note for the remaining 20 years. So when we're looking at a total cost of ownership on your house, refinancing just because you have a lower rate doesn't always make the most sense. Now, this example would have looked completely different if instead of refinancing it for the 30-year note, you would have refinanced it for the 15-year note, and then your total cost of house ownership would have been significantly less. So there's a lot of factors to take into consideration when it comes to refinancing, a lot of factors to take into consideration when it comes to, do I pay off the note or do I continue on with the mortgage payments? And that should be all a part of your debt management and retirement plan.
So Loren, if a factor is simply cash flow, it might drive you to one decision. If it's part of your retirement plan, the retirement vision, back to your question, Molly, how long you might want to live in that house, it can help you possibly drive to a different conclusion and different decision.
Most definitely.
We're less than 15 minutes into the show, and look what we've already accomplished. We've learned a lot about amortization schedules. So just think what you can accomplish in 15 minutes talking to a retirement planner about your specific retirement vision. Here's a great opportunity. It's a complimentary 15-minute retirement checkup call. You can go to merkleplan.com to get on the calendar of the retirement planners here at Merkle Retirement Planning and talk about your specific vision. But we're not done with retiring today yet. We still have taxes to talk about, and 2021, making it an opportunity when retiring today continues.
Don't let 2020 derail your retirement. Join us for a live online webinar. During this webinar, you'll discover how to use market volatility to your advantage, tax-saving strategies to grow your retirement savings, and investing mishaps and how to avoid them in a down market. Register now for this complimentary webinar by visiting merkleplan.com.
You know you want to retire. You might even know when you want to retire. What you don't know is what the world will look like. A short market drop, a crash, a recession. What if I told you these words don't have to change your retirement dreams? World events can impact your retirement, but thankfully, they don't have to. Can your retirement survive the unexpected? Visit the link to find your risk score to help you prepare for retirement when you're ready. It's time for you, not outside forces, to be in control of your retirement. Find your risk score so you can be ready no matter what comes next.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We're leaving 2020 behind and looking at 2021 and the opportunities you have for your retirement vision. I'm here with Sean Honkamp and Loren Merkle. And guys, you're looking dapper in those tuxedos.
Thanks, Molly. You're looking great yourself.
Yeah.
We're having fun today because we're celebrating 2021. If you're like us, you're ready to celebrate. So 2021, we talked about debt, looking at your debt situation. Next up, we want to talk about contributions and how to increase your savings. What are some opportunities there, Loren?
Well, one of the opportunities that many people are going to find is when you file your taxes, you might get a tax return. So now it's a matter of what to do with that tax return. And if you're looking at putting more money away for your retirement, what a great way to use what we call found money, which you probably knew it was coming, maybe not exactly how much, but what a great way to put that to work if you're eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA where that money can go into it and you never have to pay taxes on that growth ever again. That could be a really good opportunity to kind of supercharge your retirement savings with some new money as it comes back from a tax return.
And Sean, I know you spent a lot of your career as a CPA filing taxes on behalf of people. Now you get to switch to talking about tax planning for pre-retirees and retirees. So as a new year starts, there's definitely some things to be thinking about, even though tax time isn't until April.
Yeah, and go back to Lauren's point, who doesn't like found money, right? Even if you knew it was coming, it's still a great surprise when you see that hit your bank account or you get that in the mail. So that you can look at that as an opportunity. You know, it provides you with an opportunity to potentially increase your savings, start maybe taking advantage of some of the tax advantage strategies that might be available to you that are a lot of times can help become identified or become aware of them as we do that plan. So Loren mentioned the Roth IRAs. HSAs is another great example. If we're not fully funding that HSA as part of your payroll deduction through your employer, you can simply contribute on your own and you get that tax deduction as part of your tax calculation when you go to file and submit your tax return in the following year.
Yeah, we call the HSA one of the superheroes of retirement. It can really supercharge your retirement vision. We did an entire television episode on it. If you are interested in learning more about HSAs, go to YouTube and then search Merkle Retirement Planning. You can find our HSA episode there. And Loren, you know, one of the downsides of 2020, one of the many downsides of 2020 was a lot of people did see a 401k, either the match decreased, maybe even the 401k program, really diminished. So what opportunities in 2021 are there for people who maybe aren't getting the match that they used to get from their employer?
Well, there's many employers that did cut back the match of their 401k plan, or maybe they eliminated their 401k contributions, or I guess suspended 401k contributions for a period of time. Then we have to start looking outside the employer contribution realm, and that's where that another superhero series we did was with the Roth IRA. That's where that Roth IRA can really come into play. One of the things with the 401k plan or an employer-sponsored plan is it's really tempting to make your contributions to the pre-tax side. Now, for some of you, that makes a lot of sense. But for many people with tax rates on sale where they're at today, it would behoove you to make that contributions not on the pre-tax side, but on the Roth side. But many employer plans still don't offer the Roth 401k plan. So if your employer suspended their contributions, then it might make more sense for you to not contribute to that employer plan right now, but to contribute to your own individual plan. And you could do that on the tax deductible side if you wanted to. But again, I think it's definitely worth the look for most people to determine or assess, does it make sense over here where now it's going to grow for the next 20, 30 years maybe, and you're not going to owe a dime of federal tax on that growth. And that's a really powerful superpower to have on your side throughout retirement.
And when it comes to saving for retirement and doing the tax planning, another common event we saw was that some individuals had to take pay cuts, right? It was just a very interesting year for the companies as well as for all of us as individuals. So having less income in the current year, that might provide you with opportunities. You want to make sure you're still saving to your targets and achieve your goals. You might now have a little more capacity in a certain tax bracket that you might like and it might be favorable for you, such that you may want to do some of the strategies and some of the tax planning practices that we've talked about.
Okay, so we talk about a lot of practices in our journey classes. It's an opportunity we want to tell you about in just a moment. But first, this is a segment we have on the show. It's called Ask the Advisor. This question came to us from Alan in Ankeny. Alan says, I have an advisor, but how do I know if I have a retirement planner? We'll answer Alan's question and much more when Retiring Today continues.
Don't let 2020 derail your retirement. Join us for a live online webinar. During this webinar, you'll discover how to use market volatility to your advantage, tax-saving strategies to grow your retirement savings, and investing mishaps and how to avoid them in a down market. Register now for this complimentary webinar by visiting merkleplan.com.
Has the recent market volatility put your retirement plan to the test? See if your retirement is still on track by scheduling a retirement checkup with Loren Merkle. During this 15-minute phone call, we'll discuss if your retirement plan could be disrupted by long-term market volatility. We'll also analyze your current tax plan and provide strategies on how to take advantage of the market. Go to merkleplan.com and click Book Now to schedule your retirement checkup today.
We're getting ready to celebrate 2021 in just a moment, but first let's answer Alan's question. Alan from Ankeny wants to know, he says this to us, he says, I have an advisor, but I don't know if I have a retirement planner. Loren Merkle, what would you tell Alan?
Well, Alan, the question we get all the time from people who go to our Journey to Retirement workshop, or for people who come into the office and go through our process of evaluating their retirement plan, is why hasn't my advisor talked to me about all of these different things that you guys are talking to me about right now? I've been with my advisor for 10 years and he's never talked to me about the 81 different Social Security options that I have. And he's never talked to me about how to mitigate the impact of taxation and how to mitigate the long-term care risk. And the reason that is because that most advisors are not retirement planners. There's about 470,000 advisors in this country, and 94% of them are accumulation advisors. Most people look at advisors and feel like or think that we're all the same, we all do the same, and that's not true. What we do is we do retirement planning, customized retirement plans, and we only work with those who are within 10 years of retiring or already retired, because that's our specialty. And that's what we know really well. So I would say, Alan, you can certainly ask, but a retirement planner should be proactive in approaching you with these types of strategies and these conversations. It's not incumbent upon you to go to your advisor and ask them what you should be doing with Social Security, what you should be doing from a tax strategy. They should be coming to you. It is incumbent upon you, though, to make sure you have the right specialist on your team for the right phase of life that you're in. You go through the accumulation period of your life, you need an accumulation specialist, and then you transition to the retirement phase or pre-retirement phase, and that's where you make sure you have the right specialist or retirement planner on your team at that point.
And Loren, it's not unusual. In fact, it's very common that individuals will change their advisor as they get to that retirement stage. Working with that accumulation advisor may have worked very well for you for the time of life that you're in. As you get to that retirement stage, it may be the right time to then start working with that professional. It takes a full team. We've got a wonderful, great team here of 15 plus people. Everybody is involved in part of that planning process. Everybody has their role. So if the timing's right, don't feel like you can't make the switch to accommodate the stage of life that you're now in.
Yeah, great point. Most people who come to us for the first time already have an accumulation advisor, and then they necessity for a retirement planner and end up switching from that accumulation advisor to us doing the retirement planning.
And I like that title, Journey to Retirement, guys, because we know that the people watching are on a different journey. Everyone's journey looks different. Your age is part of your journey, or where you've worked, what kind of a retirement savings you have. Your journey is specific to you. So there's opportunities for you to learn more about your journey. Merkleplan.com is a great resource. There we have more on our Journey to Retirement workshops, our online options, our 15-minute retirement checkup calls. And I think about 2021 and the opportunity opportunities and the journey that you're on, Loren, and you can celebrate some different ages as 2021 comes along. That's an opportunity.
Most definitely. I don't know what age. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 11. We kind of get to this point where we want to stop celebrating birthdays, but then we get to this age of 59 and a half, and this is one for the celebration, that's for sure, because at 59 and a half, most employer plans now allow you to take control over your money underneath that employer plan. So your 401k plan, 59 and a half, you don't have to quit the employer. You just sweep that money from your 401k plan into your name, your control. You're not paying taxes on that money when it comes over. Now it's underneath your IRA, and you can invest it any way you want to. You have a lot more control and flexibility than what you do underneath the employer plan. However, the employer plan is still a very important vehicle for you to use for your retirement planning. Just use it how it's designed, which it is designed for new contributions, right? You get the free money a lot of times. It's easy to contribute to, so you still want to make contributions to that 401k plan. But at 59 and a half, you have the opportunity in many cases to take control over the vast majority of your retirement savings. That's a good thing.
Okay, and 72, briefly, Sean, it's a birthday. Some celebrate, some don't look forward to because the RMDs kick in.
Yeah, part of the planning, as we think about age 72, we talk about focus on what we can control what we can control. You get to age 72 and you're turning over a little bit of that control. Now the IRS, the government's coming saying, hey, we're going to force you to realize some of this pre-tax savings that's never been taxed, require you to take some of these distributions and realize that income. Depending on the level of planning you've done leading up to there, you may need that income, you may not need that income. So there are opportunities. We want to make sure we're planning and well ahead of that age 72 milestone so that you're in the most efficient, most valuable position for yourself in the context of your overall retirement plan.
Were you getting distracted at all?
I promise we're listening.
No, I'm excited. I'm getting excited for it.
I'm going to have Loren go ahead. We got 30 seconds left. So whether you're celebrating a birthday, 2021, whatever you're celebrating, go ahead and say goodbye to 2020 because 2021 is here, and who isn't excited for the new year? We are excited for the new year here at Merkle Retirement Planning. We're excited to bring you new episodes of Retiring Today and all the content that we're working on. Our podcast, we're excited to bring you new episodes in 2021 of our podcast, Retiring Today. And again, all of the resources, you can go to merkleplan.com, or you can join us for another episode, good job there, of this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Don't let 2020 derail your retirement. Join us for a live online webinar. During this webinar, you'll discover how to use market volatility to your advantage, tax-saving strategies to grow your retirement savings, and investing mishaps and how to avoid them in a down market. Register now for this complimentary webinar by visiting merkleplan.com.
You know you want to retire. You might even know when you want to retire. What you don't know is what the world will look like. A short market drop, a crash, a recession. What if I told you these words don't have to change your retirement dreams? World events can impact your retirement, but thankfully, they don't have to. Can your retirement survive the unexpected? Visit the link to find your risk score to help you prepare for retirement when you're ready. It's time for you, not outside forces, to be in control of your retirement. Find your risk score so you can be ready no matter what comes next.
From our family to yours, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
We hope you enjoy the show.
We'll see you next week.